This is Josiah Plays Torment, Tides of Numenera. We're in Milavest. We've been talking to Adiris, and we're now going to let Adiris enter our mind and muck around in there, apparently. So we'll see how that goes. I wish I could bring up a world map, you know, that shows where all the different areas are in relation to each other. That would be super cool. But I can't. The smile is radiant.
Well, my friend, you return. What do you need? I suppose I'm ready to let you probe my mind. This will take but a moment.
He places gentle fingers on your forehead, and you feel a swirl of color thrill your innermost core. A kaleidoscope of emotion shakes you, a gamut of experiences recognized and echoed, magnified and reflected. When she removes her hand, her eyes are wet with tears.
Forgive my doubt, sister. I believe you now. I believe you are capable of changing reality.
Making a note.
He holds up a slender finger.
But if anything, this makes me more leery of handing you a brother's Mircaster. If you wish to speak to Mazov, you must prove to me that you can be entrusted with the minds of one of our brethren. You cured Matkina, but did you understand Tash? Did you take care of his innermost self as well? Before I can give you this Mircaster, I would have you speak with Melmoth Leviarm.
I know you're busy, but could we talk?
It is my contention that we draw the sorrow to us with our abuse of the tides, which is why I do not use our tidal powers. I believe our use of these powers is inherently painful to those around us. For instance, was anyone with you when you awoke to consciousness? Two people, an Aeon priest named Alagern and a nano named Calistige. They were arguing as I woke. I'd wager any simmering tension snapped into sharp focus. If they were lovers, for example, they might have fallen deep into love's spell. But if they were breaking apart, your blast of tidal energy would have riven them, destroyed their relationship.
He pauses, and you feel the tickle of her mind on yours.
That's what happened, isn't it? They were not arguing for nothing. Go see Melmoth. Ask him about the tides. When you've done that, we will speak further.
Will you give me the Marecaster after that?
Perhaps. Eventually. I must know that you will take responsibility when you hold Zerian's life, his history, in your hands. You will not have the Mircaster until I am satisfied.
That'll do it. I want to ask some other questions first.
Naturally.
No, I lied. Oh well. And you also. So now Rin wants to talk. Talk to Melmoth about the tides. Adiris is hesitant to let me change someone else's past without understanding the cast-off condition. She's asked me to seek out Melmoth Leviarm in Mialavest and ask what he believes about the tides in our birth. Interesting.
What now?
Oh look, another thing I can talk to Matkina about. What's the story with you and Melmoth? You mentioned the name Yolin. She turns away. An old betrayal. Someone I once thought was a friend. I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on.
Dearest, you've given me a lot to think about. She's the first of your kind who doesn't make me fear for my life. The first who makes me want to be better. And I'm going to try. Doesn't mean I don't want answers, mind you. But I'm going to work with you.
She had a big impact on him. He looks at you levelly, though he seems a little shaken. Looks down at the tattoos on his arms. How are you holding up? I'm fine. Appreciate you asking. So that's different than what he used to say. Let's move on.
What now?
How are you holding up? Okay. That's her second thing that she says, but it hasn't changed since then. Alright, Rin.
What was the dearest talking about? The tides, I mean. Tides are a thing an ocean has, not a person. What did she mean?
Tides are basically the Force from Star Wars. But there's different colors for some reason.
Don't really understand them myself. I just know they're part of how I stay alive. Mira said you used them to hurt people.
You're thinking about what Toll used to do to you, aren't you? She nods, her lips a tight line.
The woman who stole me, Toll, used to do that to me. She said it helped her, that she'd kill a grown-up if she couldn't use me.
She brings a hand to her mouth.
Hurt me, made me feel sick, sad, and dying. I wanted to die a lot. That's why I ran away. I know it's none of my business, and I probably won't even know if you can do it. Or if you do it, but promise me. Promise me you won't hurt anybody like that. Ever. I can't. Just can't.
Shakes her head, unable to finish. I can lie and promise. I don't tell you how to use your gods, do I? I promise, Rin. I won't use the tides to hurt people. She breathes a sigh of relief.
Thank you.
She cuts off mid-sentence to wrap her arms around you. After a moment, she lets go and backs away, brushing the hair from her face.
I guess we have things to do still, right?
How are you holding up? Okay, she says the same thing. Let's continue on. Alright, so let's just quickly talk to Alkashai again real quick and see if there's anything we can do for him now that we've talked to Adiris. But I don't think so. Yeah, we can't.
Sure.
Melmoth Leviarm. Oh, that crazy Melmoth. Oh, good. You've come back to bedevil me again.
Dearest told me to come speak to you about the tides.
You'll find none better equipped to answer the question, certainly. Tides are an inextricable part of us, and... He snaps a clamp on one of the attachments on a tube. Wait, she sent you to me? He peers closely at you. Interesting. Every time I talk about the tides, she argues with me, as if she'd spent a fraction of the time I have in studying them. She probably said that we bring pain through our existence. Let me enlighten you. Everyone brings pain to others. I have experienced so many lives and memories, and one of the common threads in all of them is pain. Do we hurt other people? We do. But how do we differ from every mortal in this regard? Show me someone without pain, and I will show you a corpse. He winks. And then I'll eat it. Nice. Keeping it classy, Melmoth. We are imperfect. We leak tides, or absorb them, or both. Our powers impinge on the minds of others, upon their nervous system, if you prefer. We draw strength from them. We change them in the process, and not usually for the better. It is regrettable, but unavoidable. Adiris might have said that the sorrow is hunting us because we abuse the tides or some such nonsense. But if that's the case, we're doomed by the nature of our existence. If true, why not use the powers we have?
What are the tides, anyway? Where did they come from?
You know, they're a psychic energy field. They pervade the greater Sagus Protectorate. But the pockets of tidal activity are localized in the Ninth World. That suggests that though they're a natural force, they're also artificially induced. Wait, slow your roll. How are they a natural force and artificially induced? I don't get it. If they're artificially induced, then they're an artificial force. Civilizations have risen around their use. He frowns. And civilizations have fallen. He scratches his nose. Odd thing. I have sought to decipher the accounts of those times, but the creatures that made them are strange. Sorrow shows up in images and sounds and spectra I can barely understand. He taps his head. That's why I sought a better method. You get the occasional disease, a strong mind that doesn't want to share its memories with you, but everyone wants to be remembered. Talk to the voices long enough, they realize you're their only true heir.
Can you tell me anything more about the history of the tides?
Maybe if you eat my corpse when I'm dead, you can learn some of what I know. Knowledge I have. Too much for the spoken word.
What did you mean when you said the tides were an inextricable part of us?
Do you think that you could come back from the dead because you were born lucky? Our bodies require tidal energy. Cut us off from that energy and we dissolve. It's the way we're structured. The way our sire created us. He invented a mental matrix and imposed it on the bodies he grew. I surmise that this matrix is what allows his consciousness to transfer, and what allows the tidal energy to permeate our forms. Without it, he grins and pulls his hands apart. Sploosh!
Anonymous. How's it going, Anonymous? Good to see you. As in they occur naturally, but those around here are manipulated by someone. Okay. I see what you're saying.
But we have the advantage of being able to draw on this power for our own uses. We constructed each of us along different lines, and because of that, the patterns that hold us are different. Is it any wonder that we should be able to channel this into tidal surges?
Tell me again why the tides are, tied into us.
Because we have no choice. Were we to remove the tides from our bodies, the changing... I can't even say that name. Our creator wouldn't even have been able to enter these shells. Remove our connection to the tides, we fall apart.
Why do you think the sorrow pursues us? He waves a finger at you.
I don't waste my time worrying about it. Like worrying about the death of the cosmos. It'll come sooner or later. You want supposition? Here's a list. Because of our mad creator. Vengeance. Sheer bloody mindedness. Maybe it loves the tides. Or loathes them. Could be it hates what we're doing with the tides. But if you talk to Adiris, say, you'll find she never uses hers. I use mine all the time. Yet the sorrow would destroy us both.
He's got a point. He adjusts one of the tubes on his outfit.
I worry more about the deaths of others and how I might gain some of their knowledge. Not about the first dead vendetta, nor our creator's desire to kill us, nor certainly not an unstoppable monster from the past.
Tell me why you think the sorrow precedes us cast-offs again?
Because of what we are. It's ineffable. No point in trying to understand it. Just avoid it if you can. But realize that the depths you might have to delve to succeed, well, you might have your own batch of cast-offs cursing your name. That would be weird.
How do you know so much about the tides?
He sighs, exasperated, and holds up his bony hand, folding his fingers back as he counts. 1. I am hundreds of years old. I can devote this kind of time. 2. I am dedicated to knowledge. 3. I will do anything in its pursuit. 4. I learned to draw memories from dead people. 5. I sought the dead who could teach me about the tides.
He lowers his fist.
Follow that trail of thought. You'll find me at the end. That's how I know. And why do I do this, do you think? Let me tell you, since you clearly wanted to ask. It's because the changing man thought the tides were important. He uses the tides to shape us. Do you want to know more about how you were created? I did, and so I researched the tides. Reason for this is that I am not an idiot, unlike so many of our siblings.
This guy thinks a lot of himself. Tell me how you know so much about the tides again.
I seek out knowledge. I don't run around the countryside on some farcical journey. I put in the effort to find knowledge to absorb it. That's all.
And you eat a lot of people in the process. Adiras thinks that a tidal surge on my birth was responsible for a devastating argument between two humans.
It's entirely possible. The tides are a psychic force, and when we're born, our minds snap into a particular shape and force out the residue. An unprotected mind nearby might well absorb some of that energy and react in unpredictable ways. But what of it? Does this change anything in your life? Two mortals had an argument. Oh no. Boo-hoo.
This guy's really compassionate. Cares about others. Let me ask some other questions. No, that's all.
He squints at you and then relents. Growling at you won't make you go away, I suppose. So ask.
Farewell.
Don't eat anything I wouldn't eat.
I've talked to Melmoth about the tides. His opinion is markedly different from Adiras's, which makes me wonder why she sent me to him. He says that the tides are an inextricable part of who we are as cast-offs, a power we should use to our benefit.
Consider it done.
Alright, Adiras. Let's do this. Have you spoken with Melmoth then? What did he say? He said that the tides are within us all and that we should use our powers as necessary. She laughs. I imagine he called me a fool and worse. He has done more research into the tides than anyone else here in Miela Vest. Tell me, did he say anything else? He said we all use the tides all the time. She shakes her head. If we do, it is purely unconscious, for I have never used them intentionally. At any rate, I sent you to speak with Melmoth. Do you believe that he has conducted his studies with anything but his own power in mind? I don't think he cares deeply about others. I can't claim to know what's in his heart. A fair response. I have spoken with him extensively, and he can still surprise me. I don't believe in his positions, nor his conclusions, for he may well have inflated the results to justify his actions. But he refuses my mind's touch, and he rebuffs my attempts to inquire more deeply. My own personal views are, of course, irrelevant to the deeper truth that he has his own motives, and they may be purer than mine. In any case, you have done what I asked. However, if you're keen to enter this mirror and take control of the life of your siblings, then I believe you should have practiced resolving their conflicts while they're still in control of their own lives. Help them change for the better.
I'll remember that.
So I have another task for you. Andronis and Raima are arguing. The recent negotiations between the Chalcedon and Paj broke down, and these two have taken it hard. They are like to come to blows if they cannot be reconciled.
She bows her head.
If one strikes the other, the laws of Mialavest are clear. The attacker will be evicted. I don't know if the Sorrow is truly more active, but they came here choosing safety, and it is my wish that they have it. Please, speak with them.
Dearest, of all of us here, you're the only one who doesn't seem to want anything, who isn't openly manipulating the others for her own benefit. So what's the play? You say we're free to choose and to own our choices, so what choices are you making? What do you really want? I want to hear Adir's answer. It reminds you of one professor you always suspected her would be a cannibal too. Nice. He smiles at Makina sadly.
What I want is an end to our stupid internecine warfare. I want us to work together. The squabbles between our sire and those who support the legacy of the First mean nothing in the face of the Sorrow. But get any two of us together and the larger threat vanishes, while our death creeps closer still.
She gestures to the beauty around her.
Mialavest is a garden, a cage. The Sorrow can't come in, but we can't leave. Have you seen animals locked in a menagerie? They are restless, caged, yearning to be free. But if they leave the cell, they are hunted by their would-be keepers. So it is with us here. But instead of uniting to solve our problem, we lash out at each other. I would see us set aside those differences.
I mean, she's a little bit overstating it, in my opinion. We can't leave, we're in a cage. Obviously you can. Matkina has come and go lots of times. A lot of other people have come and go lots of times. You can leave, you're just scared to leave because maybe the Sorrow's out there and maybe the Sorrow's gonna get you. It's just like these animals you're talking about that are yearning to be free. Those animals actually can't leave the cage. They're actually trapped in there. If they could leave, they would, despite the fact that in nature, there are things hunting them too. I mean, oh no, we're being hunted by something that wants to kill us. Welcome to Earth. Welcome to being an organism. You can't just hide in a cage because you're afraid something might be hunting you. There's always something hunting you. If you live on this planet. I'm just saying. I don't like her little metaphor here. I don't think it's apt. And I think she's overstating it. That's all I'm saying.
You are my older sister, and so I am cautious in saying this to you, but you have a certain reputation. Even among the rest of us, you are known to be hard, unforgiving. You carry grudges through centuries, even beyond death. Matkina, please, you need to let go.
Her voice rasps from her dry throat. Nearly all the authors of my tragedies have been our kind. Our sire and his abandonment in my moment of peril. The first in her order to slaughter my village. Paj, who bloodied her blade herself. Tash, who claimed to be a friend and turned on me. Melmoth, who offered me aid and betrayed me to the authorities. Turns her head to glare at Melmoth nearby. Need I go on?
Do you always act with full knowledge, sister? Are your choices made rationally, with forethought, or do you react without thinking? Think on this, and think on what example you set.
She's getting a little preachy now, isn't she?
You can forgive them, Mapkina, but never forget what they've done. Really? That's the message you take from this? Fine, I suppose. It's better than nothing.
She pinches the bridge of her nose.
Sometimes, I admit, our kind can be supremely frustrating.
She waves you away.
Go and speak with Rima and Andronis. Perhaps in helping them, you can learn from them as well. Alright, I want to ask some other questions first. I will speak to what I can. What am I supposed to be doing for you again? Andronis and Rima are bickering. Again, I fear they may come to blows and then they would be evicted from Miela Vest. Find a way to resolve their differences. Farewell.
Non-preachy pacifists are a rare beast. That's true. That's true. Because I'm altering people's lives without their permission, Adiris would like to see how I do so when they are still in control of their lives. There are two cast-offs in Miela Vest, Androna Sandhand and Rima Cyro, whose argument is threatening to turn violent. Adiris would like me to resolve the dispute and protect the peace of this sanctuary. Can I ask her about that latest little bit of intel we just got? No. Let's finish up what we need to get done. Said what I needed to say. Now we need to figure out where we go from here.
Oh, yes?
What now?
Okay, no. Fine, let's go talk to them again.
You want it done right.
Let's try this again. By the looks Rima and Andronis turn your way, you've interrupted a promising tangent of their apparently infinite argument.
Adiris asked me to mediate your dispute.
They react exactly like, sullen children. Andronis folds his arms and turns away from you. Rima flushes and stares at her feet.
Alright,
she mutters at last.
Tell us what you need to know. First, what exactly are you arguing about?
The two watch each other warily for a moment, as if speaking first will somehow forfeit the argument. We mostly disagree, he says at last. Only a matter of respect to Josiah. He arches a cold eyebrow at Rima, a silent question. She gives a reluctant nod.
Tell me what's troubling you, Andronis.
I just don't understand her, he says, flinging his hand in Rima's direction. The changing god abandoned us at birth, then fed us lie after lie when he chose to speak with us at all. She claims he has a master plan. I see a man who serves himself first and always. He doesn't care if we die. Even I care more if Rima dies than our sire does. He barks a bitter laugh. Ha! Did you know that he sparked the whole war from my body? He got the first angry at me, then ditched this shell, leaving me to deal with the consequences. Good thing the first knows the difference between the face and the mind. He rubs his eyes. But Rima, look, I know how she feels. The sorrow is haunting all of us. It's nice to think that the changing god has a plan to protect us. It's just not true. I know. He glares at Rima, then looks back at you. Damn it, he says, turning away. After a moment you see why. There are tears in his eyes. None of us want to kill each other. You see that, right? His eyes harden. If I have to choose between someone brave enough to stand against our father and her, I'd drop her and mourn later.
Let's hear your side, Rama. It's simple, sister. The endless battle is a test, and Andronis' side has been failing it for centuries. Our creator managed to annoy the first enough that she stormed off in a huff. He even did it in Andronis' body. You'd think that this big oaf of all people would understand what our sire was thinking. She shakes her head, laughing. The fact of the matter is our father created this sanctuary for us, to protect us from the sorrow. But hiding isn't a strategy. Eventually we'll have to take the battle to it. The gleam in her eyes is a banked fire. And when that time comes, our father wants an army who will follow his orders without question. He allowed the first to spread her doubts, and the traitors among us have flocked to her side. Tosses Andronis a scornful look. Even so, I'm sure it hurt our father to discover that so many of his children mistrusted him, she says, lowering her eyes. Imagine how that feels, knowing that you'd have to kill some of your children to save the rest. And that's it, she says with an elegant shrug. Simple, like I said. Andronis simply can't accept that his grand rebellion is all part of our father's plan. Can't accept that we owe our existence and ongoing survival to him. She sneers at Andronis. You hate his sanctuary and so much, why not leave? Summarize your argument for me again, Andronis. Changing God has turned us on each other, and for what? To draw the Sorrow's Eye away from him? For fun? He growls under his breath. Rima wants to believe his intentions are noble, but she's fooling herself. Summarize your argument for me again, Rima. I think our father made a greater sacrifice than we know. Divided, we don't stand a chance against the sorrow. He let the first rebel so that we could deal with the traitors among us before that final battle. That seems a little bit dodgy to me. I don't think I buy that. That seems a little bit like wishful fucking thinking and delusion. But on the other hand, I think Andronis might be a little too far in the other direction. I mean, the fact is, neither of them have any fucking clue why the Changing God did what he did. And they're both just kind of making up their own suppositions about it based on what they want to believe. Which is basically what people do about everything, but it only becomes a problem when people think they're really sure about some shit. Before I make my decision, what sort of solution would satisfy you both? Neither of them speak for a moment. Their faces are identical sculptures of surprise. I don't know, he says, glancing at Rima, whatever. Nothing you say could make us take each other's side. And with apologies to Adiris, I don't want to get along with Rima. I've hated her for too long. No offense. No offense. I just said I hate you, but no offense. Her lip quirks. Honesty doesn't offend me. She looks over at you. And we need a decision. You can't please both of us. Our points of view aren't ever going to line up. I've heard your arguments. I'm ready to resolve your dispute. Hopefully I can say something similar to what I just said a second ago. Andronis and Rima go still and stoic, showing no sign of the emotion they displayed before. In this moment, they look very much alike. Like family. You're endangering everyone, both of you leave. Andronis, she's right, leave. Rima, he's right, leave. Stop the argument, neither one of you is right. Well, I'm not feeling 1 through 3. 4 could be okay. 5 seems like a course of reason. Get them to think about it from another perspective, maybe, and realize that they're being silly. That's probably a little more optimistic about their capacity for reason, though, than is warranted. Do you really want to break the truce? To kill each other over a point of view?
Making a note.
Andronus opens his mouth, shuts it thoughtfully. Finally, he speaks. You're right. We're safe here, but the sorrow is circling. The rumors are true. I don't want to do its work. Yeah, Nanos, just because I hate you doesn't mean you're a bad person. So no offense, but gods, I want to break your face. Yeah, no offense, though.
Alright, she says, letting out a ragged breath. Just, let's talk about something else, Andronus. Can we do that?
For now, gladly.
So I guess we've solved it.
For the moment. Two cast-offs stand together, murmuring to each other, both nod at you.
Peace in our time. Who could have thought? Nice to see you two getting along.
Your older siblings roll their eyes in unison.
You two still getting along?
They eye you warily, then continue their murmured discussion.
Your argument is based on the endless battle, isn't it? Is that why the battle's still going on?
I'll remember that.
Yes. He huffs and casts a dark look at Rima. Wherever our father has the chance, he spends our lives like a loose handful of shins. We keep fighting to stop him. Grins mercilessly. Tear him down.
I'll remember that.
You idiot, she says, but without real rancor. Our father never makes a move without knowing he's going to win. We're stronger than you, and we have right on our side. You're going to lose this war down to the last soldier. Then you'll see that I'm right. Farewell.
Turn to Adiris. I've resolved the argument between Andronus and Rima. I need to return to Adiris to tell her the results. Let me guess. Next she's gonna send me to Elkashai to fix his shit.
You won't notice I'm gone.
Have you helped Rima and Andronus come to a conclusion yet?
I managed to persuade them to their senses. They've agreed to a temporary peace. She claps her hands softly.
Well done. Well done indeed. To be free to choose is part of life in Miela Vest. We must own our choices, just as we own our responsibilities for the outcomes of those choices.
Making a note.
Before I can allow you to alter the course of a brother's life, I would hear your opinion on something which touches the lives of all our kind. You have no doubt heard of the endless battle, but what do you know about it? Why do they fight, and who is right?
She bows her head slightly.
If perchance you have heard only a little about the conflict, you may wish to speak to your brethren before answering.
No, I know all about it at this point.
Updated my journal.
What's the point? She sneers. The endless battle used to mean something. It used to be people with principles. She's like, I liked the endless battle before it was cool. Before it was mainstream. Before the endless battle sold out. She's like all hipster about it. But they lost sight of their true goals, and it became a self-perpetuating war machine. I don't think the first could stop it now, even if she were alive. It's worthless and stupid. That's pretty much how I feel about it, too.
A not uncommon opinion, Matkina, at least among those of us who abstain from the fighting.
She turns to you.
What about you? Have you an opinion as strong, or do you wish to gather more information before giving an answer?
I would like to ask you some questions first.
I will answer if I can.
What do you think of the endless battle? No, wait. I hit the wrong button. Shit. Well, too late.
Very well. What do you believe the point of the endless battle is?
This is a lot of options. Now this is getting Planescape Tormenty with 12 dialogue options. Each side is trying to achieve its goals through force. It's war, senseless violence caused by pride. Frankly, it's none of my business. Protect the change of God against the attacks of the first. Killing each other is a deeply rooted instinct that's human. Each side to prove the rightness of their position. The goal is to stop the change of God from ruining the lives of his cast-offs. There is no point, it's a waste. It may have mattered once, but it's devolved into a self-perpetuating quagmire. Remember Thalana and her men. The only purpose it serves is to ruin the lives of those it touches. Barricale said, the endless battle makes us stronger through conflict. The fighting is pointless but still profitable, and that's why it continues. Man, so much of this makes me think of war in the real world. And why it's always perpetuated. Pride. Profitable. Self-perpetuating. There's a lot of options here. I don't really know what I want to say. Maybe 2. Maybe 8. Maybe 9. Maybe 10. I think I'm going to go with 10. The only purpose it serves is to ruin the lives of those it touches. A fair point, I admit. But does it ruin all the lives it touches? Do some benefit? Indeed. What of the suppliers, the camp followers, the arms merchants? You would strip away their livelihoods in the name of peace. Yeah, they can get a new livelihood. Their livelihood is bullshit. Get an honest fucking livelihood. War profiteering? Do I feel sympathy for war profiteers? Not so much. It's a blatant borrowing of the Blood War. Oh yeah, obviously unanimous, obviously. Yeah, the parallels to the Blood War are completely clear. Of course. The minute they mentioned the endless battle, the minute they mentioned it, I thought, oh, it's the Blood War. Alright, to some benefit, we got another 12. I love these philosophical discussions where they ask you your opinions on things, on ideas, on vague things. Questions that have no one true answer. Questions that are hard to answer. Oh, this is the same... basically the same exact list of answers. Does it ruin all the lives it touches? This is like what can change the nature of a man up in here. It may have mattered once, but it has devolved into a self-perpetuating quagmire. Yet the war has raged for hundreds of years. Surely those who fight believe in something besides might and coin. The fighting is pointless, but it's still profitable, and that's why it continues. So the point is to make a profit? Or perhaps might it be that opportunists swarm in where they see an opening? You don't believe the point of the battle is to make a few parasites wealthy? Yeah, actually. That's always been the point of war. Always, 100% of the time. There's always some trumped up bullshit pretext that is made up and used as propaganda to mollify or inspire the people. And get the soldiers to be willing to fight, and get the people to be willing to endure it and to pay for it. But it's always about enriching a select group of powerful people. Consolidating their power and bringing them more wealth. I am convinced that every war that has ever been fought on this planet has been about that. Despite whatever made-up ass bullshit reason there was. oh, religion, or whatever else. Oh, freedom, or whatever bullshit thing they've tried to claim. That's just me, though. That's just me. Maybe that's cynical. Maybe that's cynical.
There is merit in changing your opinion when presented with rebuttal. Only be certain that, in doing so, you do not abandon the truth.
She spreads her hands in conciliation.
But you must forgive me. The point of this exercise is not to frustrate you, rather something else entirely.
Okay, what is the point? She clasps her hands together.
So, why do you think I have asked you this? No, let us start from the first task. Why would I tell you to talk to Melmoth when he ridicules my beliefs?
You wanted to expose me to other viewpoints.
Precisely. When we have incomplete information and are exposed to alternate opposite viewpoints, how do we judge which is true? We must reach a conclusion at some point, but unless those conclusions are backed with incontrovertible evidence, you must never imagine that you have the sole grasp on the truth.
Now she's talking my language. This is fucking straight out of the Josiah playbook right here. I agree. How do we judge which is true? In my experience, people just judge which is true based on their own pre-existing biases and desires. And they just shoehorn whatever into the slot of truth that fits their particular slant and needs in the world. Well, it might be obvious to you and I, Anonymous, but obviously it's not obvious to most people because they continue to buy into the lies and the propaganda. It's never imagined that you have the sole grasp on the truth. I agree. Wholeheartedly.
And what do you imagine I intended when I asked you to intervene with Raima and Andronis?
To get rid of the troublemakers.
To resolve a dispute with regard for both parties' feelings and motivations. That is exactly so.
Man, I'm knocking these questions out of the park. They are pretty obvious answers, though.
My intention for you in this task was to have you change the lives of your siblings for the better, while they still control their own bodies. To offer them alternatives and see if you can provide them a route through their troubles that maintains their core goals. Then we come to the question of the endless battle. What purpose did that discussion serve?
It was just an excuse to have 12 dialogue options? Wait. Some sort of psychological test. Challenging my beliefs with alternate viewpoints. I don't think it's number 2, because what is the truth behind it? None of us can answer that. I'm going to go with number 1.
Challenging my beliefs with alternate viewpoints, perhaps. Correct, and astutely judged.
Boom! 3 out of 3. Ask me some more. Ask me some more. I got these questions all day.
The goal in all of this was to make you question your assumptions, to see things through other eyes.
Yeah, and I'm all about that. I'm all about that. That's what I do. She holds your gaze.
It may be that nothing of import happens in Zerian's Mare. You might enter, speak with Mazov, and leave without altering him a bit.
Oh, I'm gonna alter some shit. Don't even trip. I'm altering some shit. I'm putting my altering pants on before I go into this mirror. I'm getting a paintbrush in one hand and a wrench in the other. I am there to fuck shit up in that mirror.
But even if so, there will be other mirrors. What if the next one is Melmoth's or Raima's or even mine? Whose assumptions will you take with you into that life? Whose goals will you accomplish and at what cost?
This is a good thing to think about, though. I've been kind of cavalier about what I've been doing in these in these in these mares so far, just kind of jumping in there and doing whatever the fuck I feel like. But to think about the fact that if I really am fucking with some people's real lives there, you know, obviously it's a game. I just mean within the context of the game and what my character would think within the context of the game world if it were real. Okay.
You have the power to change the course of a life, of many lives, without their permission or even their knowledge. You will have to weigh their desires against your own, deciding whether the needs of your life are more important than theirs. You will have to know, with the utmost certainty and integrity.
Oh, here it is. The question that they kept touting out constantly during all the promotional stuff to this game. This is their actual analog of the what can change the nature of a man question.
What does one life matter?
It's in all their trailers and shit, that question. And finally it's been dragged out into the game. What does one life... Oh my god, we've got a lot of answers. I love this shit. I love this shit. Regret. Regret can change the nature of a man. Belief. Belief can change the nature of a man. Anything you believe can change the nature of a man can change it. One life doesn't matter. Each life is important. One life doesn't matter. Matters as much as we let it matter. We make our own... Ooh, number 4 is strong. Number 4 is good. Life matters only if you experience it, if you let it wither. No. Number 2 is okay. Number 4 is better. What is life but the memories we leave? You're not dead until you're... No, no. Matter to whom or for what? The question is incomplete. Well, I think those questions, those questions you're asking are nested sub-questions within the greater question. You're supposed to take those questions into consideration when you give your answer. One life can find new knowledge. No. Legacy, who cares? Continuity of life. No. No, 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 no. 2 and 4 are the only ones I like. But I like 4 more, I think. Yeah, no, it's gotta be 4. 4 is definitely the one.
It matters only as much as we let it matter. We make our own meaning, our own truths.
Got some silver tide there. So the answer is a set of answers? Well, these are philosophical questions, Anonymous. There is no answer. The only point of these questions is to raise more questions and to discuss those questions, and then to discuss the other questions that those questions raise, and to think about things, and to broaden your perspective, and to take ideas and hold them up and examine them in new lights. I mean, that's the point of these questions. You can't answer it. There's not an answer to something like, what does one life matter? There's only your answer. And I think even if you answer it, you're answering it for just that moment. That's your answer for right now. But your answer could change and probably will change many times throughout your life. That's how I see it, anyway. That's how I see it. As being a person of philosophical bent.
This matches my personal experience as well. We have meaning where we find meaning, chaos where we lack it. Yet, you would do well to examine this belief.
Making a note.
No, there must be an answer, as it's a dialogue expecting a choice. Well, I gave an answer. I gave my answer. And it was pretty close. Spot on, pretty close to what my actual answer would be as a person. Pretty similar to that. From within her robes, she produces a small, clean box. A stylized version of the changing god's sigil is emblazoned across the top of it.
This is the Marecaster of a cast-off named Zerian. One brother looked into it once and reported seeing Zarian in the fields of Ossafagan, and later speaking with Mazov. I highly recommend you take care of any unfinished business before you enter the Mir. You can change the past after all. Anything might happen. Let me know when you are ready. I have other questions first. What do you think of the endless
Making a
battle?
note.
The truth? She shudders and her voice is hot with anger. It is a waste of life, a waste of talent, a waste of Numenera that could be used to make the world better. They say conflict is the driver of progress, but the world has achieved all the technological progress it requires. The progress we need is in learning, in the humanities, in learning to communicate well and truly with one another. Oh, she's speaking my language right here. I'm all about this. Preach it. See, I don't mind when somebody's preachy if they're preaching things that I agree with. Then she sighs. But both sides claim to be doing it to protect us. And can I truly argue with them? No. Tell me why you don't support either side in the endless battle again? It is a folly and a shame to see our brethren throwing their lives away, especially when they claim to be protecting our lives. Alright, I'm not ready to go to the Mirrorcaster. Farewell. Alright, so I need to make sure there's nothing else for me to do here. I don't think there is. Why couldn't I help this guy? I don't understand. Ren even tried and we couldn't do anything for this dude. Yeah, I guess we can't do anything for him.
Trust and honesty are our bonds.
Do I need to talk to anyone else? Do I have a reason to talk to anyone else? Melmoth.
Yes, now.
Chalcedon. No. Someone wants her worthless English lit diploma to matter. You really think it's worthless, huh? You think literature is just useless? If we got rid of all literature from the planet and nobody ever created any more literature, that wouldn't have any effect on the course of the human species. It wouldn't in any way negatively impact our culture or our development as a race. This literature, fuck it. We don't need no stinking literature in this world. Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask about. Oh, good. You've come back to bedevil me again. Matkina keeps talking about how you betrayed her. What happened between you two? He stares at you for a moment. Why are you bringing up old memories? What difference does it make now? He glances at Matkina and shrugs. She betrayed me, as she has most of her kind. Though in my case, she had the gall to accuse me of betrayal. Flaps a hand at her. Oh, keep those blades in your sleeves. I put it behind me as best I can, as should you. Forget it.
I want to speak with you.
She sighs and squares herself as if readying for a battle. That two people I almost respect advised me to forgive those who betrayed me. She jerks a finger at you. This one and at Dearest. I'm trying to take their advice. Forgive me? Matkina, you were the one who ruined our partnership. I sought to build your reputation. I steered you toward choice assignments. Yes, I benefited from your work, but you benefited from mine, did you not? Is your name used to conjure fear? That was what you asked of me. That is what I provided. So you responded by attacking my people, my organization, and my reputation. Indeed, you were so successful I had to flee the city. You forgive me? How magnanimous! He sounds like he's got a point there. But Yalin said... Yalin? You mean the man who supplanted me? The one who assumed control of my organization for decades? He used you, Matkina, and I suppose I owe you an apology for letting you think you could trust him. But yours was the greater betrayal. He snorts. Oh, close your mouth. I expected it from you. If it means that much to you, yes, I forgive you. He turns to you.
What do you think of all this? Isn't cast-off drama wonderful? With so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being Snoop the Double G. Don't straw man me, Joe. But come to think about it, erasure of literature studies from history, if it was possible, could have been a good thing. I don't think I agree. I mean, okay. Taking your words completely literally at face value, sure, it could have been a good thing, but anything could have been a good thing. I don't think that it would have been a good thing, personally, but I don't know, because we're talking about hypotheticals now. Why should Matkina trust your word now? He seems shocked. Trust? I don't ask her to trust, I ask her to think. Did I benefit from her downfall? I did not. Am I a stupid man? Don't answer that, but I am not. I wouldn't betray an assassin of her skill, not in such a clumsy way. It would be an insult to both of us. He inclines his head slightly to her. Let us begin anew. Bygones and all that. We will move on. See, I'm reconciling people. That's what I do. She nods sharply. Agreed. Well, our reunion has been productive. He turns back to you. Have you any further questions for me, or will I find peace at last? Yeah, well. Alright, so we're going to talk to her because she wants to talk to us now. Before we do anything else. But that's going to be on our next episode. If you're watching the stream, don't go anywhere because we're not done. I'm going to play for one more hour. I'm going to play this for one more hour. But, YouTube viewers, this episode's now over. So thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Torment, Tides of Numenera.